Hey everyone, welcome to Reddit Readout. Today we are checking out Entitled Parents. Story 1. It's been a while since I post here, so an update since last time. So, if anyone remembers my last posts, here a recap. My father gets all of his information from Newsmax, which I have looked up to find out it's a far-right news site like Fox News, just not as amusing. He says that Democrats are the problem in America and that Trump did nothing wrong and should have won the 2020 election. I disagreed with him after learning more about what the Republicans want to do with non-white people, LGBT content, the economy. It just made me uncomfortable that I believe in these people at one point in my life. His girlfriend agrees with him about all the lies from Newsmax but doesn't choose a side. Anyways, now on to more recent stuff. I was having a conversation with the girlfriend, I don't remember what though. I made a joke about me being gender fluid and my dad brings up trans women being in women's sports. I just went brain dead for a second, but after that I argued there really isn't a difference between the two. He argues that there is a big difference because they were men before. I rolled my eye and just walked away because I don't care for sports and let him rant away like I've been doing for years. And before I closed my door he yelled in my face, "That's why you're the problem with this country, because you don't care." Oh, trust me, I just care more a human being than I do money, like you've ranting ever since Joe Biden went into office. Go back to your lover boy Joe Biden where you can have kids transition and identify as a fucking cat. He walked away red as a tomato while I'm just standing there crying because I have a hard time controlling my emotions. I close my door and flop on my bed to wail for 2 hours. After that I called my mother to ask if I could move in with her. I did so, and 2 months later I have all my stuff here. But it doesn't get any better. 'Cause my brother is really fucking stupid, like really stupid. He makes Ed from Ed and Eddie look smart. And when I try to correct him, he flips out and it's always the dumbest shit that we argue about. Like if EA really cares about his players or not. He argues that they do because they protect people's accounts from getting hacked. My argument is they have to do that, or they lose players and potentially getting a lawsuit. He flips out about how I always talk shit about Madden because I don't like EA sports games and EA's track record is a red flag at minimum. I explained to my mom and stepdad my side and it took an hour to come to the conclusion that I was right. The only time apparently. I also say that it's pointless to argue with him, this has happened so many times, for even dumber reason, that my stepdad says that I need to keep my Story 2. Mom teaser. A few days ago I posted about my dad while I was having a breakdown and said Mom was worse. This is a teaser of how horrible she is. This morning at 6:20 a.m. I wake up because I have to help Mom get sister ready for school. Just breakfast and lunch. Mom's not home and I decided to take the dog out for a small walk to use the restroom. 5 minutes in Mom gets back, tells me to take the dog out for a long walk, give or take about 20 to 30-minute walk. I told her I can't so I can help her. She said it was fine and she would handle sis lunch. We left around 6:35, come back around 7:08. She asked me to make sis her breakfast. I did after I washed my hands and Mom got sister ready. I made the breakfast fast and got drinks ready for sis because it was gonna be really hot today. During this time Mom is yelling at me because she threw out some bad grapes and blamed me for not cleaning out the fridge and making Mom do it. I told her last week before trash day I'll do it, but she told me not to and yelled at me again to not do it. For an hour she's blaming me for stale chips being left out, for my sister running out of juice boxes even though I kept telling Mom that we are low on them for sis for 2 weeks. Then the whole time she's blaming me for our bills being higher and that it's my fault her life is horrible and that I'm doing great as a college student, very sarcastically. All this by 8 a.m. sis was supposed to be at school at 7:45. She also has a smartwatch that she lost yesterday that I found in the car this morning and she said I stole it yesterday and put it back. Now I am a college student and I work 6 days a week and get about 4 to 5 hours of sleep on a daily and only have 1 day off each week. I tend to clean the house and other stuff to help out. Can't go grocery shopping because mom gets mad that I don't get the right things even though I made the list of stuff we are low on, and I make sure to buy the organic or Nongmo based products because that's what mom buys. It's currently 8:44 am and mom left the house and took the internet router, which doesn't affect me at all since I am going to school in 3 hours and then to work right after, and I'm not getting back till 12 am. Mom said she dropped off dad at work because our car broke down, and I get that mom was tired, but she went to bed at 9 p.m. last night and slept more than me and dad, who only got 5 hours and had to wash mom's clothes the night before. That was after I got out of work at 7 p.m. and walked home after working and getting home at 7:55, nearly 12 hours from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. That's just today. Story 3. Let my kids play with knives. OMG, I'm actually so appalled at the entitlement of this guy RN. I'm at a farmer's market and I'm currently next to a guy who sells knives. Really cool stuff like battle axes and swords. He forges them himself. He doesn't seem to mind kids coming around to look, but he doesn't let them touch or pick up the products. Obviously, they are sharp and dangerous as well as expensive if they were to get broken. So anyways, these little kids were by the knives and I guess they had come around 5 times or so. He has to tell the kids to not touch the knives. So I think he ended up asking them to leave his booth or come back with a parent. Dad came back. Here's the convo. Dad, were my kids over here? Knife guy, yeah. Dad, are the kids allowed to come look or not? Knife guy, well, I prefer if they have a parent coming by so often. Dad, are you open for business or not? Knife guy, yeah, I am. Dad, well, they came over on my permission, so if you ever talk to my kids like that again, we will have a problem. Knife guy didn't really say anything and just let the guy leave. Like, are you fucking kidding me? The audacity of a man to force a business owner to let his children play with his products that also happen to be super dangerous. I told Knife guy that guy reeks of entitlement and he is in the right here. Story 4. I'm tempted to finally call it after discovering my dad cut down the 5 feet hibiscus in my garden. What was the reason? Everyone in my family makes excuses for his constant BS, gives him the benefit of the doubt, calls his actions neurotic instead of, more accurately, problematic. My one sister always quick to remind me of his other qualities that make him a good dad if I dare try to express and seek some validity in feeling betrayed by how he can treat me. For 34 years I've tolerated his egregious behavior and I'm deciding if I hit my limit. Yeah, so he cut down my gorgeous hibiscus like a varsity lunatic. Stole it? Still wrapping my head around really both the what and the why. Me and my husband and my baby were walking around the yard before her bedtime tonight. It was already dark and my husband, who lol usually so aloof, noticed my favorite flowering bush was not there. We live in a northern state and have already got frost, but this sweet miracle of a hardy hibiscus was still flourishing. Perfection. There were 5 open flowers, big beautiful candy swirled blooms. Gone. Whole plant cut clean at the base. My parents had just left earlier in the afternoon from visiting for a whopping 2 days. They refused to ever stay long, but this was by far their shortest visit. And they live nearly 5 hours away. And they refused to stay at our house, always get a hotel. So all in all, me and my baby got to actually see them for maybe a combined 3 hours. And mostly my mom. My dad doesn't participate in quality time. It doesn't serve him. He stays outside on his phone the whole time or runs errands, or messes with / modifies my garden. He usually just plants more plants and flowers. But he's planted over tulip bulbs before and mowed my wildflowers not fully bloomed yet. Because he doesn't ask and doesn't think he needs to. He just does what he wants, and if I take issue with it, he responds like I'm a dickhead ingrate who has a lot of nerve to care about what the garden she tends to summer long looks like and yields. Because he's here, very briefly, 5 times a year, and deserves to call those shots about a property he doesn't own. And if consequentially it actually gives me more work instead of helps me out, well, I'd better eat glass before I mention so. More examples of this in the same spirit. He's taken my car to get a tune-up while I was sleeping, without my permission, and threw away so much necessary paperwork, an unused gift card, my husband's one-hitter, a couple of my daughter's toys he said were too dirty to be worth saving, plus, gum, pens, and air fresheners he didn't like the smell of. Because he also got it cleaned. I was to be grateful and not inquire further or act as if those items mattered. Or else. He's thrown away everything in my fridge that was opened or not to his standard, i.e. a brand new thing of mayonnaise BC it was Kraft instead of Hellmann's. Replaced it all, not even clothes, with better, what he likes, products. He's taken my dog to get groomed without her proof of rabies vaccination, without me knowing he was going. BC he's only on brand if he doesn't ask. He called me up, while I was at work, hollering and cursing about how I need to get my vet to call the groomer stat BC he's too old to be dealing with this kind of horseshit and I should have her tag updated and the dog is a pain in his ass and he doesn't have time for this. You better believe I did as I was told and probably apologized instead of hanging up on his dizzy ass as you know, a normal adult would when they're infantilized just for existing in someone else's problem. One time when I was visiting them he decided I was drinking too much coffee. So he replaced the regular coffee grounds with decaf. One evening I saw a decaf bag of coffee in the cereal cabinet. And I was like oh decaf, yay. And I went to make a pot. BC I'm an adult who recognizes her biology and doesn't drink caffeine after a certain time. It's as if I've fully grown and been to Earth for 30 plus years. My dad stopped me and chuckled and told me I couldn't have it. Just kept saying it was special. Wouldn't fess up to why. My mom told me what he'd done after he started getting agitated that I wouldn't drop it. And when I acted horrified at his actual entitlement to arbitrating my coffee consumption, with basically just a stunned silence, he threw his hands in the air and told me that I gotta take better care of myself while walking out of the room / ending any kind of discussion before it started. I have no idea what my dad cut down this hibiscus for. I didn't even know he was in the garden while he was here. He's so sneaky for zero reason. It wasn't in their car when they left. Did he give it to someone? Truly can't think who. Did he plant it somewhere else? If he wanted a couple of the flowers I would have without hesitation given him some. It's beneath him to ask though. I'm not sure how or when I want to inquire what happened to it. I could go on the offense. I could finally disengage once and for all, no warning, no discussion. I think I'm too cut down for that though. It's like he knows I am. That's all for today. Please don't forget to like and subscribe.